the games have gone into obscurity to a certain extent, overshadowed by all these coaching changes. But we do have a Pac-12 championship game coming up on Friday night. I do believe that the Pac-12 was wise originally in making this a Friday night spectacle, the only Power 5 championship game on Friday. They've got the TV sets to themselves. In addition to that, they will be playing at a neutral site for the first time there in Las Vegas. What are your thoughts about Utah and Oregon getting together just a few weeks after the Utes blitzed them 38-7?
Yeah, so I think the main plot points for this game, where do we start? First off, it's a defining game for both head coaches. And with Lincoln Riley now in the Pac-12, Mario Cristobal and Kyle Whittingham are both going to look at this game and say, if we don't win this conference championship, when are we going to win the next one, right? And Mario Cristobal, this is very intriguing. Like, if he doesn't win this game, if Cristobal loses twice to Utah in a 3-week span, and then Miami does fire Manny Diaz, does Cristobal give Miami a second look? And I would say this: I still don't think it's likely that Cristobal goes to Miami. All right. I don't think it's likely, but I think there's definitely a better chance that it will happen after the Lincoln Riley move to USC, because Cristobal had his place atop the Pac-12. He was able to raid Southern California because Clay Helton wasn't able to lock that area down for USC. It was really an ideal situation for Cristobal to just go into LA and get recruits, bring them up to Eugene in the Pacific Northwest, and now that's done. Lincoln Riley's going to lock down Southern California. Cristobal won't have that recruiting advantage anymore. So if he doesn't beat Utah, if he loses, if he fails to win the conference championship, his job at Oregon, while still a very good job, and he has a very good setup there, he could think twice about it in ways that simply wouldn't have applied if USC had hired a relatively mediocre, average, or slightly above average, non-home run coach. Like if USC hit a bloop double or a long single, Mario Cristobal wouldn't think twice. But with Lincoln Riley there, he could. So if he loses this game, I think Cristobal might think twice about Miami. And then on the other side with Utah, John Wilner, the excellent Pac-12 reporter and columnist for the San Jose Mercury News, the Wilner Hotline, he thinks that if Utah wins this game and then goes to the Rose Bowl, Kyle Whittingham will retire after the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl will be his last game. And it makes sense. Whittingham's in his early 60s, has a lot of grandkids, wants to spend time with them. You would think that, like, he wants a crowning achievement at Utah before he steps down. So if he makes the Rose Bowl, that's it, right? That would make sense. So if Whittingham loses this game, he probably comes back next year to make one more run at the flag, maybe before Lincoln Riley puts all the pieces together at USC. He'll have a transition year next year in which USC will be expected to be good, but maybe not great, just because of the instability and because of all the damage Clay Helton has done. So it'll be fascinating on both sides of this coaching matchup, Cristobal and Whittingham. As for the game, it's not in Salt Lake City, so that right there should make it a much closer, more competitive game. But in terms of who actually wins, I still think it's actually Utah's game to lose, and it's because Oregon played Saturday, Utah played Friday, so it's a shorter week for the Ducks having to play on a Friday, and Oregon's really banged up. Oregon has a lot of injuries. Some of them suffered against Utah. So Utah's a much healthier team coming into this game. And you might say Utah, kind of jogged through that game against Colorado. Didn't look very impressive. The final score was 28-13. Well, let's remember, the week before Utah crushed Oregon, Utah barely beat Arizona 38-29. So, like, you can see with the Utes that they kind of, like an airplane needs to dump fuel, the Utes dump emotional fuel the week before a really big game. So, like, I'm actually, if I'm a Utah fan, I'm fine with the sluggish, ugly performance against Colorado, because that was just a team that was conserving emotional fuel, filling back up the tank for Oregon. I think it's definitely Utah's game to lose. I would expect the Utes to win.